This is an actual training from our Las Vegas mastermind event for our playing clientele within the mastermind. We have our next event coming up, which is in November in Dubai on the Palm, which is the 9th and 10th, Friday and Saturday. If you want the secrets to blow up your fitness business, we are going to be teaching you some bombshell stuff, in particular how to double your business over Black Friday alone. So hit the link below this video. You can get tickets now for the event. We have a maximum sit-in of 10 people who can sit in the room. Now enjoy the training.
I was going to introduce myself, but y'all know who I am. Let's see. Who has a plan for the next 90 days all mapped out? Just by show of hands. Who has a plan mapped out for the next 90 days? By show of hands. So we got 2. Great. But you work for Craig, that don't count. You by default, he'd probably fire you if you don't have a plan, right? Like, you don't got a plan. So here we go. Here's what I learned. The easiest way to get rich, now my definition of rich might be different from yours. If you can pay your bills, save some money, travel whenever you want, and save a little money, you're rich. Because I've traveled all around the world where our basic life is wealthy for most other people. So when I think of rich, don't think about millions, think about what you want to create. Because if I have 10 million, that could last me for the rest of my life. If Charlie has it, maybe 6 years. Frank, 2 years, Puffy, 3 months, right? So it just depends on who you are and where you are in your life when you're going for being rich. So I focus on what I want to create. I don't look left, I don't look right. I just do what I want to do. So that's what we're going to focus on. So the first thing I want you to think of is, how much money do you want to make in the next 3 months? Don't write it down, just think about that number. Whatever that number is. So if it's, everybody put their hand up. And if it's higher than 10,000, keep your hand up. 20,000, when I get to your number, put your hand down. 20,000. 100,000 next 3 months. 200,000 in the next 3 months. 300,000. 400,000. $500,000. We need to talk. 600,000. So here's what's happening. What I learned over the years is, if you want to hit your goals, let's say if I want to create 150,000 in revenue in the next 3 months, I need to identify a great plan to create 300,000. Because I would learn is you have a success ratio. And I've learned my personal success ratio is 62.5%, which is the same as my closing ratio, ironically. I guess it makes sense, right? So when you identify a goal, a lot of people focus specifically on hitting this number. So let's say if it's 600,000 in 3 months. They put all their energy into that. So if you build a plan to hit 600,000 and one piece of it doesn't work, you don't hit 600,000. So what I learned from Napoleon Hill when I first started studying him when I was 20 is you need to identify 2, sometimes 3 times more than you intend to make. So in your particular case, it should be 1.2 million. And if you don't get a little nervous, the goal's probably not good. So if I'm a little nervous, I know that's just about right. It needs to be on the horizon, like a sunset, but it shouldn't be way on the opposite side of the world where it's dark. So you want it to be out of reach, but not out of sight. So that's what I've learned. So take some time right now and think of what your financial target is. And whatever number you really believe you can do, put a line and then write double whatever that number is.
Total for the quarter.
Total for the quarter.
Yeah.
So we're going to start a new quarter. It's going to be August. It's going to be September, October.
Gross?
Whatever you go by. Revenue. I usually tell people to go with revenue because it's very difficult to figure out gross. Because if I make 200,000 over the next 90 days, how much did I spend to make it? How much taxes I'm going to have to pay? Where did I make that money? Did I make it in America? Did I make it from Barbados? Where did I make? So I just go with revenue. So pick a revenue target. Who needs more time? Nobody. Good. So when you see 1, 2, and 3 months as a goal, this part's short, the other parts will take a little longer. What I've learned is in the first piece of a goal you're not going to make that much money usually, unless you already have something rolling and it's kind of predictable. So in my world, if I wanted to make 150, my target for August would be something like 20% of that goal, because you're going to build momentum over time. So I don't know, let me do some quick math. 150, 10, so that'd be $30,000. So I'll be trying to focus on somewhere around like 30 grand the first month. And then the next month, I'm going to try to grow that so that sometimes you can come in at the finish line and hit your goals. So here's a short story. One of my clients, who some of y'all know, not y'all two today, they wanted to do $1 million in a year. And we got to Thanksgiving and they were like 810,000. Nowhere near $1 million. But we created a couple of promotions, like I heard today, and we did some stuff on the back end with renewals and all this other stuff. And she ended up doing 1.1 million. But because of the momentum she had built in the previous months, we just maximized all of her resources. So business goes in ebbs and flows. So sometimes when you blow out your leads, that means you did a really good promotion, really successful. You notice your leads go down. So you got to calculate that kind of stuff in. So she did very well. So in January, she made almost no money because she was high from the, hitting $1 million. So she just was coasting for a couple months. And then all of a sudden her income went back down to like 30,000 bucks. And she said, Korby, what happened? I said, well, I believe in the flywheel concept. So you have stored energy. So as you go towards your goals, when you get that flywheel cooking, if you've ever been on a spin cycle, it'll keep pedaling for you for a little while. Then after a while, that momentum and all that marketing you did wears out. So you got to keep it rolling. So I go from 30,000. The next month, I want to try to make like 50 or 60,000. And then that last month, based on the momentum, I can make that push for the 150. But if you write something like I'm going to make, unless you have an established business, 50, 50, 50, it's very difficult. So that's what you want to think about when you think about your goal. So you take like 20% the first month of your goal, 30%, and then 50%. Because a lot of times you can hit half of all your revenue in 1 month. So to put that in perspective, at least in America with Black Friday and Christmas, most retail companies, you notice they go out of business in March and April the next year. Because if they don't hit their revenue targets for Christmas, they go out of business because they're counting on making half of all their money between Halloween and January 15th. With a bulk of that happening between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now I know some other countries got Boxing Day. I don't know how that all works, but for America, that's what we do. So work through that in your mind. So let's say you're doing 100,000 a month. A few of y'all in here doing that. So you want to do, let's call it 800,000. So in August, you should start identifying strategies to get you to at least 150,000 or 200,000 of that. So that if something comes up short, you'll still do 150, 160. So based on your lead flow and all this other stuff, which we're getting to later, we can quickly calculate, is it possible? I like to work in the realm of, it could be possible. I don't like to be like, sure. I like uncertainty. It makes me work harder. So there we go. So take some time to create your targets. Does anybody need any more time to create targets? Yay or nay? You're good. Anybody else? Anybody else needs help setting their targets? No? Everybody's good? It's fun talking about money because it's super emotional, so you usually don't get a lot of questions. So take 30 seconds. It's the most emotional subject in the world. So take 30 seconds, kind of work through those numbers for yourself. So when you're writing those numbers down, who here is a little nervous about the numbers they put down? Tell me more.
As in what?
Whatever you like. Why are you nervous?
Because I know that they will be stretching, which is why I'm looking down like that.
But aren't you in the fitness industry? Don't you break down and stretch your muscles all the time? So we're just going to stress your mental and financial muscles, that's all. Same thing, you got to work out every day to hit your goal, right? What about you? Why are you nervous? Because you put 6 million? Why are you nervous?
It's going to stretch me.
It's going to stretch, okay. Charlie, are you nervous?
Big number.
Because your number's got to be huge.
Which when you should put 50% in the third month as well. That's interesting.
Well, think about it. That's close to Thanksgiving. You should be.
Well, I don't know American. When is Thanksgiving?
It's where we all get fat together on a Thursday.
What day is that?
The day before Black Friday.
Oh, okay.
For me, every week is Black Friday. Y'all get that in a second. So, so here we go. So here's what happens. There's 5 parts in your business. I think most of you know these, but the first thing you got to do in your business, got to think of is you got to learn how to build the audience. It's the very first thing you got to get good at. So you can flip the paper over and write these 5 down really quick. Learn how to build the audience. Without an audience, you're just making noise. Doesn't matter, right? So you got to get a tribe of hungry buyers that want to work with you. So since I talked to Funk at lunch, one of the things I told him way back in 2012, if you want to get rich, you only need 1,000 loyal followers. Write that down. Here's the reason why. Every time I release a sales course or anything else similar to that, I send it to the same 200 people and they buy anything I put out. They say, here's basically an open checkbook. Every time you put something out, just tell us how much it is and we'll pay it. So it gives you a license to print money if you can generate 1,000 loyal fans. Let me see. You probably old got to know this guy. Who knows Dan Kennedy? Not because of Russell Brunson, right? But Dan Kennedy, he's generated more than $100 million and he has 600 people whose accounts for most of that money. I'm one of them, right? So, because anything he puts out, I buy. I don't care what the price is. I don't even read the sales copy. He puts it out, I buy it. It's $1,900, $2,000, $2,400, and he's been dripping on me like that for like 30 years. So I probably spent a couple $100,000 with him on courses. Most of the time, not knowing what I'm getting. So when you're building an audience, you want 1 million, whatever it is, but you want 1,000 people who'll be with you forever. That's the goal, right? Number 2, you need to learn how to engage people. Without engagement, you can't make no money. And if the only engagement you're getting is around purchasing or DM me, I'm ready, or this or that, that's not really engagement. You want to have people interact with you when it's not a buying signal. But you want to train people to respond to you so they will buy from you. So one of the things I like to do when I rarely post, I always ask people to do something at the end of my post. So in your case, you can say, drop it, do push-ups, try this at the gym the next time, do this, take this, whatever. So you want to get people used to listening to you tell them what to do. So for the men, just pretend your wife's talking to you and you learn how to, that type of thing. So you just learn how to listen. Get them to listen to you. So that way it's easier to make money. Third thing you got to do is what? Conversations and calls. So now conversations and calls, I like to call that the middle/bottom of the funnel. That part should be more systemized in your business. So if it's systemized, it's going to allow you to quickly cipher through or ciphering, whatever the word is, sort through people really quickly so that you can make money when it's time. So that's the part of your business you almost want to have like locked in like a robot. If you do that, let's say you have a huge promotion, you get 200 people that come through. You can quickly move through those people and make the max amount of money. Because here's what I learned. If I want to fix my shoulder and I'm talking to Luke, I would still want to fix my shoulder. So tonight I'm probably going to go online and say, how can I fix my shoulder? So always realize this. As soon as somebody gets to that point where they're ready to buy, they're not just talking to you. Write that down. If they're ready to buy, they're not just talking to me. Because here's what'll happen. They'll listen to your solution and go, I wonder if I can find that on YouTube. And they'll try to look up your solution. Then if they can't find it, they'll say, that's one of the reasons people say they want to think about it. Because they're trying to find an alternative that's pretty close to what you offer somewhere else. That's one of the reasons why I tell people, give all of your stuff names. Because if you give it a name, they can't look it up. If they can't look up the Trevor Forever system, right? They can't look that up. Like, where are you going to go online to find that? So when they can't find it, they say, well, I guess I got to buy it from him. So then the next thing you got to do is fulfill. Luke talked about this morning. Look at the recording. He'll tell you all about that, right? So if you're good at fulfilling, people will do the last step, renewal. So those are the 5 things. Build the audience, get them to engage, calls and sales, or whatever you want to call that process for you, fulfillment, and then that last one is obviously renewals. So when you look at your paper here, take some time, talk to yourself or your business partner or whatever, and say, in order like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which one you're the best at, right? The best to the worst in those 5 areas. What are you best to worst at in those 5 areas? Take some time and do that now. If you need any help.
What are the 5 areas called?
What? No, I'm just playing. Audience building, engagement, sales, fulfillment, renewals. I have a good guess what everybody's going to put for number 5, but we'll see.
You should see your guess is the same as mine.
Oh, absolutely. It's an old song, Tell Me Why It Hurts. Or Tell Me Where It Hurts, right? So number 5 is where it hurts the most, obviously. Strong to weak. If you're having trouble, you can take all 5 of those and rate them from 1 to 10, but you can't use 7. The reason why I say don't use 7 when I tell people 1 to 10, they did a poll with many, many people across many, many countries. And they asked women, how would you rate yourself? Now, if it's 100 women in one room, half got to be better looking than the other half, just based on math, right? But 80% of them rate themselves 7 or higher. So the reason why I say you can't use 7, because 7 is a safe number. Because women will say, I look good, but I don't know if I look that good. So 7's safe. That means I know I look good, but I'm not like unbelievable. So when I tell people to rate themselves, I say don't use 7. Because I want you to pick between 6 and 8 if it's close. So there you go. So my guess is number 5 for most of you would be some version of sales. Safe to say? Who has sales as number 5, their weakest, or the one they want to work on the most? So one person here needs help with sales. That doesn't even make sense. All right, so let me hear, what's your weakest? Who had number 5? What's your number 5?
Not what I had, but my guess is what everyone's going to say is audience.
Well, audience, that's good. Who's number 5 is audience. So here's a little shortcut for you. There's a book by a guy named Gary Keller. It's called The One Thing. Short version is, half of your time should be devoted to fixing that problem. Half of your overall time should be dedicated to fixing that one problem. And I like to say do it in 6-week sprints. So if it's audience building, my question is, what books are you reading to fix that? Because what I've learned after 30 years of being a coach is, a coach leads, guides, and directs. But I can't do it for you. So Luke can do everything for me except one thing. He can't do my push-ups. So a lot of times when we deal with coaches, we want the coach to give us the solution and also fix the problem. So if you know you're struggling with audience building, what books are you reading? Huh? Persuasion, good book. Robert Cialdini, right? And Persuasion, his old book from 81. Persuasion and Persuasion, 2 good books. Another one is The Language of Trust by Michael Witz, I think. Another one is To Sell is Human. Because in this age, people are allergic to sales language. So I spent a long time when I sell to not use much sales language because it makes it difficult. So when you're building an audience, you want to use language that is dialed in for your particular audience so that you don't necessarily have to say, I work with guys between 28 and 53 or whatever it is, right? What language do they use? Because if in your case, you say, let me see, I work with fathers, that's me, who are over 50, that's me. who want to be energetic once again. That's me. Great. So now I'm listening to you. But if you use language that caters to those types of people, when he reads your stuff, he's going to be like, it's cool. It's not for me, though. So he might be somebody who's on your list. When Frank talked about that bottom part of the pyramid, that means you caught my interest. I followed you, but I'm not really engaged with your stuff. So spend time, if you need to build your audience, read some books on that. What else does somebody have for number 5? Pick.
I was engaged, please.
Engage?
Yeah, not through comments and that through Instagram.
So what's stopping you right now? Are you too smart? No, not like that. No. When you are online teaching, do you sound too smart for your audience?
Oh, possibly. Oh, probably.
So one of the things I had to learn is to not sound smart. And that took a super long time. People can slowly figure out I'm half intelligent, slowly. But I used to lead with that, and it would turn people off. So sometimes you could be almost intimidating. So like Luke, if I came across Luke online, I'd be like, this dude is too smart. I need the dumb version of him. But his clients, his language is perfect for them. So by design, his marketing will eliminate me. So I won't be one of those tire kickers when you get, oh, this freaking dude is on the phone with me, he's wasting my time. The reason why is because you attracted the wrong person. So here's how you know if your marketing is good. You attract the people you want, and then you attract about 20 to 25% of the people you don't want. That's really important to know. Because if your marketing is too good, you're broke. Unless you're selling like yachts or jets, right? So because if everybody you get on the phone says yes, that means your marketing is too tight. If you ain't getting no no's, you're probably not making much money either. And I don't even know about each one of your businesses like that, but that's what you want to think about. Anybody else? Number 5? Something different? I'll tell you in a second the answer. Anybody else? Okay, so the way you generate comments is you have to create posts that generate conversations. So let me ask you a question. In the last 30 days, what have you done that's a current event happening in fitness right now as a post?
Haven't.
In the last 30 days, something that's currently happening in fitness for your target niche, did you post about it? Everybody write that down. So if something happened in the last 30 days in your niche, why wouldn't you talk about it? So in my particular world, I'm in the call center world outside of this stuff. So my world is call center. So I do a newsletter every month, $97. It goes out to the people in the call center industry so I can tell them the State of the Union, what's happening in the call center industry. It's only 4 pages, $97, only goes to call center owners, right? So I have a thing called Google Reader. Everybody has that? Because everybody has Google. So anything related to call center, it automatically puts it in the folder. So every Saturday morning, my job is to siphon through that folder to figure out what the heck's going on. So whoever you help, do that. Now, who else uses remixes of videos? Who does remixes? Nobody? So the guy, I can't think of the guy, he's a personal trainer. He's like you, super duper smart. And he always helping people fix their scapulas and their knees. And he shows a person doing the exercise the wrong way, he goes 8, 7, and then he starts talking. Well, in the last month, I can't remember his name. Watch when I sit down, I remember. He's got 87 million views in the last month on his remix reels alone. So why aren't you doing remixes? So one of the reasons you follow fitness influencers is because a lot of times, and this is just me, imagine if I could figure it out, I must be missing 80%. I can see they're doing it wrong. If I can see it, and I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, maybe you can see it. So you got to create things to help people want to talk. So who do you help?
Women between 25 to 40.
Okay, so what do women between 24 and 40 say about their bodies?
In terms of what they want or
I don't know. It's not my niche. You tell me.
tolerance, flat stomach.
That's what they say?
Yeah.
So when they talk, they say, I want a toned, flat stomach. That's what they say?
Yeah.
So when you're on a call, here's a little secret. When you do sales calls, put that language from the sales call into your marketing because that's their actual problems. So that's one way you start to get engagement, by speaking directly to their problems in a way where they go, yeah, that's me. So because you help them get flat stomachs and tummies and all this other stuff, you could probably find lots of stuff on the internet about abs. Because if you look at men's health, every issue is the same. They just switch the titles around, but every issue is going to be about abs, chest, a little bit of endurance, somebody famous, everyone. And they've been doing that for like 30 years. Same magazine every month. It's crazy. But they still sell like $50 million of subscriptions. So just focusing on what their problems are, create a Google Reader account, start collecting all stuff about abs. You should look at like waist trainers. You should be talking about waist trainers, of course, right? You should be talking about slim tees, all that stuff, because it don't work. Allegedly, I don't know. I never wore a slim trainer or a girdle. So that's how you do it. So you research them to the point where you know them better than they know themselves. Because by default, if you know them better than they know themselves, they would assume you could fix their problem. That's why I never talk to women, because I don't understand their problems. So I just don't. So I just talk to owners of call centers outside of this world, because that's what I understand. Because all call center owners are married. It just seems that way. All of them are married and they never get divorced. So I'm like, okay, cool. So let me just talk to these people. It's simple, because I know these are the issues they have, so on and so forth. Anybody else have another one for number 5? That's all of them. Okay, great. So now, when you look at your biggest projects for growth, think about that one that's number 5, your weakest area, and write that right next to the word growth in the left-hand column. So when you do that, you're going to ask yourself, and take about 2 minutes to do this, what are my 3 biggest projects I need to start solving that problem in the next 6 to 8 weeks? If somebody wants some help to work through it, throw your hands in the air, you know. So what are the 3 biggest projects? So let's say if somebody put sales or audience building. Yeah, that's a good one. Audience building. So one of your projects would be read 4 books. Another one of your projects could be implement Google Reader. Another one could be learn to do reels with remixes. Those could be 3 projects. Just Google. Like it's a news clipping service.
Yeah, I found it under Google News.
Google News, yeah, same thing. I had it so long, this was pre-Google Docs, but that's what I do. And there's other services that do that. Because you have an Apple, right? That's the reason. Got an inferior product. Got it. So I'm just kidding. All these Apple lovers here. So think about your 3 projects you need for your particular thing. Anybody else? Need some help with their projects, identifying them? Ask now or forever hold your peace. I'll simplify your life.
So I was wondering for
Go ahead.
renewals.
Reels?
Renewals.
Renewals? Okay. So let's look at renewals. First thing we got to do is, say, how long do people stay with you now?
I don't have enough data to really give a solid number.
Okay.
New, but they're probably longer than the norm.
What's the norm?
From what I hear across the board, 3 to 6 months, what I hear people talking about, people stick around. So the majority of the guys I have been here longer, with me longer than that.
Okay, so the first thing you got to ask yourself is, do you have a renewal process?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
At about week 7, we call them up, check in with them, make sure everything's on point, they're feeling good, and then we start pitching at that point around week 7. I have a 12-week program.
Okay, so when you pitched them at week 7, let's say 100 people, because I don't know how many people in your program. So let's say 100. How many of them say yes?
Our closing ratio is probably now around 42%.
Okay, so it needs work, right? So Okay. Without getting into a whole sermon, here's a short version of it. Renewals start right after they give you their credit card. Somebody should write that down. You might miss that one. So here's the reason why. Because if you start good, you finish good. So a lot of times, people who I'm close to, we had really good, great beginnings of our relationships. Me and Charlie got on the phone the very first time. We hit it off smashingly well. He turned out to be my last call of the day. He's supposed to be 30 minutes. We talked for like 95 minutes. He's like, dude, I got all my money for the year right now. It's like, great. And never got to talk to him again, right? He's good. 2 weeks later, he called me back. But if you start good, you finish good. So
that's what I get all the time. When I do my initial call with the guy, I'll say, I got my 10 grand out of the call right now.
10 grand. Ooh, I thought I could afford you. No, I'm just playing. So if you say, so soon as you get off the call, here's what you got to do. How many people sell products that are more than $2,000 by show of hands? So the longer it takes between the time they give you $1 and the time it takes them to start, your renewal percentage goes down by 3.2% according to Gallup for every hour after 5 hours they don't have something to do.
So does that include the onboarding process?
Everything. You don't have to send them their diets and nutrition and something, but you could talk about goals, basic stuff. You got to start getting them in motion fast.
So make the initial call right now. Like, don't put it off 2 weeks. Make it.
Oh, if you're scheduling in your calendar, my belief. Whose belief is this? Mine's. I never schedule calls more than 48 hours until I don't have space to schedule them in 48 hours. Unless, you got a super busy schedule deal, and I'm like, okay, you can call me in 2 weeks, great. This is my schedule. He's going to sign up. If he picks up the phone in 2 weeks, there's a 100% chance he's going to sign up. Because he booked the call 2 weeks out, he showed up for it, so he wants help. But until you can fill up 2 days consistently, don't have 3 days out. Unless they specifically ask, I can't do it in 2 days. Because the fortunes, I used to say when I was young, the fortune is in the follow-up. That's incorrect. The fortune is in the frequency of the follow-up. And how I learned that was from reality shows, the old ones, where they had people date and live together. Because there's no logical reason why I should be able to meet a woman today and be ready to marry her like Saturday. That just doesn't make sense in most people's universes. But if I'm in the house with them for 168 hours and I can't get away, all that stuff happens really, really quickly. So the frequency of your follow-up. So here you go. Renewals. So now you get them off the phone. You book the call. Calls within 2 days. Before they get on the phone with you, first thing you want to do is show them 4 things. Promise of your program, proof that it works, process, and permission. So those are the 4 things. So the promise, I'll help you get in the greatest shape of your life, whatever version of that. Then you look at a case study of somebody who got really good results from your program. Hey, Bill here did this, boom, 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 boom. And then you go to the next P, and then if you go through that process in the email, and then say, and don't forget our call is at this time. You want to bring pen and paper because we're going to have a lot of good life-changing information. So then they know it's a sales call, but if you position it like an information session, more people will show up. That'll increase your show-up ratio if you tell people to show up with pen and paper. And it's a less likelihood. I do it a different way, Clark. How many people have gotten somebody on the phone and they were driving? That's the worst, ain't it? And you're going, I'll call you back, you're driving, I don't want to. No, go ahead. I'm like, I'm wasting my time. I've probably got, my closing ratio on people in cars is like 2%. That might be high. I might even be lying there. That might be high for me. Because nobody signs up if they're in the car. Especially when you're asking for 10,000, 5,000. They mess around and drive off the highway. So I don't like to talk to them. So get them on the phone, right? As soon as you get them on the phone, they say yes. The moment they say yes, here's everybody, listen to this. They should have 4 action steps. 1, they should have some type of goal. Say, hey, look, grab some paper, because they should have some. You want to write down your goals and what you want your idealized outcome to be in the next whatever number of days. Write down a list of all your trigger foods, in your cases. What are they trigger foods? They should write them all down. So that way when you have your little process intake call thingy, whatever you do, You can go through how to work with those trigger foods, right? Then the third thing you're going to do is saying, what limitations do you have? So it's going to either be time, it's going to be mobility, it's going to be family, it's going to find out what their constraints are. And so that you can structure it so you can work in their constraints. And then the fourth and most important thing is let them know exactly when you will follow up. If you do those 4 things, retention goes way down. Now, next thing, Clark, here you go. 2 weeks, how many? 2. You need to show them somebody who was in your program who was super successful, an email. 3 weeks, repeat process, rinse and repeat every week. Because the more evidence they can see of people being successful in your program, the more likely they are to stick with the program and re-sign up. Because the more proof, I always say this, is the Weight Watchers a great program, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? Why?
Because they keep people coming back.
Keep people coming back, why?
Because it's easy to follow.
What are the 3 C's I talked about yesterday?
Simple.
No, community, clarity, context. So Weight Watchers is like AA meeting, right? They got this context with these points, so they got this language, right? They got a really strong community, so people come back to those meetings forever. And they're clear. What's the goal? Lose weight. So because of those 3 things, that's how they make so much money. Now, I don't know, 300 people went to Weight Watchers. They're all still fat. All of them. Not even ones like regular size. All of them are still fat. But they make $6 billion a year. And their commercials start, Charlie, for you, non-Americans, right at Black Friday. That's when their commercials start. Get your new you next year. Get your point challenge. You see all of them come out. Nutrisystem, all of Jenny Craig, right then. So that's how you build your project. So you need 3 projects. So now, how do I make this happen? This is the part where you have to use your creative energy to say, how do I make this happen? So what do you need to do? In your case, Clark, let's keep the theme going. What do you need to do to fix your renewals? If you got people working for you, you need to call a meeting immediately. And here's the way I do it. So I'll take a sheet of paper, and I suggest all of y'all get some of that like toilet roll type paper, whatever it is, the big ones. And you take a long thing like this, and you put 0 here, and then you said 6 months? 6 months here. And then you need to write every single touch point you plan on having with your customer for 6 months. Like that. So my thing is all the way down to in hour 1, this is what I'm doing. Hour 4, this is what I'm doing. Hour 8, day 2, day 7, day 11, and it just keeps going all the way out to a year. So that way you can say, this was working good, but a lot of people dropped out right here. So now you can quickly fix it because you know where it is in the process. And that's the part that we don't do. We just assume everything's going smooth. So you can look at your emails, engagement, all that stuff, and start quickly finding out how to fix those holes in your process. So at this point, I have 12 like small group clients, right? It's 4 in a group. The least right now is at 109 months. The most is at 157 months. Paying me every single month. And here's the funny part. One of my favorite stories about community. When my brother was dying, he had 6 months left to live. And I said, you can do anything you want. What would it be? So he made his little bucket list like the movie. And I told my clients, I said, look, I can't work with y'all for 8 months. My brother's dying. Y'all can keep the groups going because y'all don't need me. I'm going to start charging you for 8 months. When my brother, whatever happens, I'll come back and pick back up. They said, okay, cool. And I'll never forget what Tracy said. She says, Korby, we'll keep paying you. Go take care of your brother. That's the power of a community. So basically, I didn't work for 8 months and I made $42,000 a month doing absolutely nothing. I didn't call them. I didn't check with them on Christmas. We didn't do our New Year's cruise, nothing. And when I came back 8 months. I called a group meet with like a big one. And I said, hey, this is what's going on. They was like, and Tracy said, Korby, if you need more time, it's fine. I said, no, I'm good. But they're going to give me even more time off and keep paying me. So that's the power of building a really tight-knit community. So this is the reason why in retention, you want to try to keep that stuff like mapped out so you figure out where people dropping off. And the last tip for you is this. Anybody who quits your program, let's say they quit after 4 months, stop paying you. Know that they stopped your program 2 months in. They just took 4 months to tell you. And if you don't believe me, Clark, have you ever broke up with somebody today and then you told them 4 months ago? Like 4 months later, like, oh, we're kind of done. I just need that right day. I need an argument to start so I can get rid of them. Anybody ever do that? I know I have. So I'll create an argument and get rid of you. So that's what we do. But you quit a while ago. So a lot of times the reason why we can't fix our retention, because we say they quit it 4 months. No, they quit it 2 months. They quit upstream. And that's how you fix it. So anytime you have a problem, you go upstream to figure out where it started. So when you're looking at building your projects out, the 3 things you need to do to make it happen. So first thing, Clark, for you, since I'm talking to you already, first thing you got to do is what? Call a meeting. 2, map out a customer journey. Really good book by a guy named Joey Coleman. Never Lose a Customer Again. He has the 8-step framework. He's solid. So kind of map out your customer journey. And then the next thing you do is implement the first 10 days. So you implement, don't try to do the whole thing at once. Just implement the first 10 days. Get that scripted. Because a good start usually means a good finish. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So take some time to do your 3 steps, or everybody finish them already. You need more time with your 3 steps, or help with your 3 steps? Everybody good?
Real quick question on the groups. Are you in all 12 of the groups of 4?
This is how it works. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Charlie, that's why I'm never available at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock on Monday, from 8 to 9:30, 4 of these CEOs get on this call. So I call it the cheapest board of directors that'll make you grow. So I'm the 5th person. I facilitate these people to help them solve problems. Because their companies are all more than $20 million, the $3,500 a month I ask from them, 11 of them don't even know how much they pay me. They don't even know. How much we paying you now, Korby? Like 60, 70,000? No, it's a little less than that. Don't worry about it. Why mess it up? Because that's automatic. It's like I'm on government assistance. For broke people, that's called welfare. So it's like I'm on government assistance because it comes every month, whether I want it to or not, right? So that's the way I set it up. So I'm like their, I don't know, on their board of directors. So they all kind of work together. That's what we do. So that's how I do it. But they're not, 12 would be too many for those people. Because their company's 20 million, 50 million, 110, stuff like that. And they're all in, and then the only other caveat is none of these people are in the same industry in each group. Because then it would dilute it, right? So, and Ashley sends every single member of the group a birthday present every year, sends their spouse a birthday present every year, and sends all of their kids birthday presents every year. That's why I think they don't quit. And some of those presents like $20, $30. It doesn't have, they just need to know that you care. So, boom. So that's how I kind of do it. And that's the way like I work with my customer retention, to keep it simple. Any other questions around how to build your 3 steps?
0 to 6 months, how many touch points do you think there should be?
I don't know. How intense is your program? How many touch points is it now? A month.
Usually 2 a week.
2 a week. So that's 8 a month. 48 touch points. What's the problem? Your renewal rate should be like 70%. If you hitting all 48 of those touch points, it's got to be like 70%. What's your renewal rate?
60.
So you got a little work to do. So you probably got to, in the beginning, all right, so here's what, all right, so this one's for free. Next one y'all going to have to pay me for. So this is what y'all are. None of you are trainers. Change behavior experts. You're not really, because that's what you do. So when you come into somebody's life, you change their behavior. because I was fat watching Netflix, enjoying my life. Now you say I gotta go to the gym, I gotta be doing meal prep, I gotta be counting calories, it's a lot happening. So, this is my humble opinion, I could be wrong. I'm not a fitness expert like any of y'all, but this is what I would do if I came into your industry. I will focus on mastering one thing a month. So of the 3 things they gotta change, what's the most important thing they need to change in the first 6 months?
Mindset.
Final answer.
Food.
Food, okay. So food, second level. What'd you say, Clark?
Mindset.
Mindset, right? So mind. What's third? Most important.
So I teach 5 principles: mindset, meals, movement, community, and integrity. Those are the
Movement.
5 principles.
Oh, you clearly are Doug's friend. That's what he always, how many steps you took, Korby? I'm like, what, Doug? I'm fine. How are you? Like, yeah, so he's big in the movement, right? But food, then we got to go with workouts, right? So, news alert. The least important thing you do is workouts. Because if you don't get their mind right and their food right, it doesn't matter what they do when they work out. So I'll give you an example. I work out 4 times a week, but I refuse to change my food, right? Because I want to build this habit first. So I'm okay having a little bit of gut, but like all of my lifts have increased by 58% in the last 4 months. So do I care? No. When I'm ready to cut, I'll call one of y'all, say, manage my food, and then boom. But if I try to do both of these habits for me, it's hard. So I have a system, BRATS, right? So the first thing you need to change is their beliefs. Very first thing you need to change, right? If you change their beliefs, then you can get them into the right routines and rituals. So that's how you build your program around routines and rituals, right? Then you have to have, and this is the most important part, an action-based accountability method. Now this is a joke. Don't call nobody. Charlie's here. Don't call nobody. This is just a joke. Everybody needs a little support. That's why I created a BRATS system. So this is the most important thing you're ever going to do. But here's what happens. After they do these 3 things, they got to realize it's going to take time. So these 3 go together. But you got to realize how much time is it going to take you to get them to believe in your product, start doing it, and be accountable. So watch this. How many people here have 50% of their clients that do every check-in? At least 50%. So you should be getting 50% of all your people should have amazing transformations. Is that true?
Yeah.
How many clients you got?
Not 150.
150. So if I go on your Instagram, will I see 75 transformations?
Not more.
More? Good. So this is how you know it's working. If you can get them to do this over time, the number of people you can successfully get to do this, that's the number of transformations you're going to have. So this is the easiest way to figure it out. So if you get 100 and you only got 30 transformations that are great, that means you need to fix their beliefs, their routines, or have better accountability. And if you're not doing that, they're not going to go nowhere. Now, here's the fun part. Luke, this one's for you, and Charlie, and Kat. No, Brittany, because she's the nerd of the group. So here you go. You got to build a system. Right? If you build a system, then it'll work. But that has to all become like one system. How much support do they need? And this is different for everybody. So I'm a low maintenance client, but when I want help, I want help. So if in a year, I might call you 3 times, but those 3 times you better answer me in 4.5 minutes or I'm done. But I don't like a lot of help, right? So that's me. Then you might have Clark, who wants to talk to me every week for 10 minutes. That's how he works. So you got to figure out how much support each one of your individual clients, and you give them that right amount. And if you can get them to do what you want them to do over time, that's how you can grow your income. Because the number of transformations directly correlates to how much money you can charge. So if you got thousands of transformations, you can do thousands and thousands of dollars. So there you go. So now You go to the second column. This one's going to be quick. What are the 3 personal areas of your life you need to improve? What are 3 areas you need to work on in your personal life? So I'm going to help y'all with number 1. Fitness should be number 1 for all y'all. Because your body is a walking advertisement. Sometimes the reason why you struggle, I'm not in fitness, so leave me alone when I say this. Sometimes the reason why you struggle is because you're not in shape. You don't feel like you're in good shape, so it's hard to, like, for lack of a better word, preach the truth. Because you're not doing what you say, right? So in most cases, let me ask you a question, everybody here. If on August 1st, you did your own program, as is, would you get in better shape than you are now? By show of hands. Your exact programs, that's a problem. If it's 2 of y'all, if you did your exact program you telling me to do, and you don't get in better shape, why am I doing your program? I don't know. Why am I doing it? It doesn't make sense. So what I would like y'all to do, but you do whatever you want. Start in August, film yourself, do your exact program you're recommending to people, and take a picture every week until Black Friday. They can see your transformation. They get hyped. Oh my gosh, you're doing your own program, blah, blah, blah. And you can take your clients and have them follow along with you. So as you sign people up, you can keep a video, you're working out, you're already at the gym anyway. Everybody filming at the gyms these days anyway. So do that. So what 3 areas you need to improve on for yourself? So fitness should be 1, mandatory, because that's your life. Everybody here is in fitness, right? Yeah. So you got to get in good shape. Leave me alone. I'm work in progress. What you got to work on? Anybody need help for their personal projects? No? Everybody good? So got 60 seconds. Oh, I forgot about my good rum here. Anybody need more time? Good. So, here's the question. When it says, how do I make that happen? Here's a better way to ask that question to yourself. How do I make time to make that happen? Because Luke taught me all about, you might run out of time, so you can't do everything I want you to do. So how do you make time? How many people here have kids? Okay, trap question. Is kids one of your 3 things? Here's what I learned. If you don't put your kids pretty close to first, everything else in your life falls apart. That's what I've learned. So when I do my weekly schedule, I do my spiritual life, then it's like kids right under that. And they get an email from me and a text message every Sunday. Is there anything Dad needs to do this week? Let me know. And whatever they say overrides everything else on my schedule. I don't care what the schedule is. So if my daughter said, Dad, we're going to be in Switzerland next week, which she will be. I want you here. We want to go to this ice cream place, and I want you to come. I'm on the plane. Because nobody's more important to me than them. So when you set your life up, set it up so you can win. Because what I learned is, if your kids think they're the most important people in your life, they'll do everything to make you proud of them. That's what I've learned. And so it's got to be like fitness, maybe family, maybe what are your areas? And then you got to say, how do I make time to make that happen? So what's critical to you? And everybody's values and setups are different, because my kids are old now, so they need me more as an advisor than they do as a dad. Because all that stuff's done. My son lives on his own. My daughter's basically on her own in college. So she stays in my condo in Sunny Isles, and that's that. With her best friend. So they're kind of like out. So they call me when they need money. I mean, when they want to see how Dad's doing. That's all they call me for now is money. So everybody's good with that? So here's the last one. Biggest business areas to improve. that should sort of look like the column on the left. So where it hurts is not necessarily always where it needs to improve. So my guess is most of you will put engagement is an area you need to improve in your business. Anybody here close over 80%? Well, sorry. 82? For how long? 2 months. So what are you from January to now, though? Okay, 70 is good. If you're above 70, I don't like saying this. Either consider making your programs a little longer, because if you're so good at closing people, you can make your programs longer. I'm not a big proponent of always increasing prices. I say analyze your niche. And I say, what's the most my niche can pay? And I try to charge them about 20% less than that. And they'll stay forever if they like your community. So first they're gonna come in to change their body and all that good stuff. And if they like your community, they'll stay. So because you know who Funk is, he has one of the best communities that I've been in terms of this industry. Him and a guy named Mike Rashid. They have great communities. When you got 5,000 people, Mike, who giving him $50 a month, and they just in there hanging out. I don't even know what they're doing. I'm like, Mike, what are they doing here? It's like just a Facebook group of people hanging out for $50 a month, showing each other's pictures and traveling and stuff. I'm saying, wait a minute, maybe I'm working too hard. So what areas you need to improve in your business? What's the biggest area that you need to fix? Any questions about areas of your business you need to fix? Any quick coaching you need around that?
How specific do you want me to do that?
It's your business. You could be super specific. Like, I'll give you an example. In my call center in Costa Rica, their big issue is they can't build rapport. So they try to close too quick. So I'm sending Adrian down there so he can spend 2 months down there just focusing on teaching them how to be better with rapport. Because they close all the time, but they skip the rapport part. So their conversions are suffering. So T-Mobile gave me a call and said, hey, your Spanish contingent's not closing as high as they were. What's going on? So my revenue went down from like $252 per hour per seat to like $169. That's a huge drop when you got like 110 seats. That's every hour, right? So I'm really specific on what we're working on there. Just rapport. In the Philippines, their big issue is they're scared to close because they're so polite. So what we're doing is slowly phasing out sales in the Philippines over the next year and moving it to a different call center and let them focus strictly on customer service. So when you look at your business, so I'll give you an example, Charlie, since I actually know you. Sales, let's take sales. You can break, because of the size of your organization, you can really break sales down. So I'll give you an example. DMs, right? You could do between DMs and the time they get on the call. So that'll be 8, like the follow-up emails and all that other stuff, right? Then when they actually get on the calls, then that's Jack involved, right? What's happening post-sale? Who's in charge of the follow-up with the sales? How are you generating the leads to get those sales? What are the quality of those leads? So you can break sales down really, really granular because you have lots of parts to your sales because you got so many calls coming in. Then we got to break that down even further. So we got to go fitness versus business. So now that's 16 different parts you can work on if you just did sales. So when we first met, your income went up substantially because I don't want to share your personal business, but we just fixed sales. That's all we worked on. I said, how's your delivery? My delivery's good, Korby. Okay, great. So let's work on this one thing. So we worked on sales for 6 months and you had a different life ever since. Let's just say it that way, right? So sometimes you only got to fix one thing in your business. So if I say, Charlie, me and you'll work together on your sales for the next year and nothing else. I don't care nothing else about the rest of your business. I bet you if you call me every week, which you could do, I'm not saying you can't, you got my number. If you call me every week, I'll take a bet here publicly, I'll double your business in a year. And it's got to be a 20-minute call. It ain't got to be long. I'll double your business in 1 year. I don't care what the numbers are. Because why? You focused on it. So what I learned from bodybuilding, if you lose a contest, you say, what could I make better? They say, well, you got to bring up your shoulders, hit your quads, bring up your back. You can't do all that. You can fix one thing, right? So this year I'm working on my chest. Come back next year, chest looks great, abs are a little loose. Next year you're going to do what? Work on your what? Cardio and all that stuff, right? Next year, and then you just keep fixing it until you win. So when you look at your business, the smaller your business is, the less granular it's going to be. The bigger your business is, the more granular. So in your case, because I have a two-headed monster, that's y'all too. That'd be y'all too. Y'all have the same problems he has. So y'all have so many people, both of y'all, and probably Clark and Neil or a couple other people, y'all have so many things moving. Y'all got processes, y'all got people, y'all got paychecks, it's a lot of stuff moving. So how do you optimize all that stuff? So you just pick one piece. So if you watch this, do everything you're doing right now the same, both of y'all. But if I could take your DM people or whatever process you're using, and instead of making it 1 out of 15, and we get 1 out of 9 conversations to get on the phone. Same 105 leads, right? If you close, you said, what, 82%? So based on the fact that I know how much you charge, if you just took it from 15 to 9, you'd make an extra $490,000 in 1 year. And you change nothing else. Everything else in your business could suck. If you change that one thing, $500,000. So slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's what Navy SEALs say. So that's what you do. So look at your business and figure out one area that you really want to get dialed in on. I didn't realize that camera was there. That you really want to get dialed in on. And when you do that, that's the thing that's going to move your business forward. So where's it hurt the most in your business? You had to come to Jesus moment. He's like, oh God, me? So here you go. What does it hurt?
Our biggest things are systems, and that's what we focus on now.
Okay, so look, here's a curse word for a business coach. The word systems. That's a curse word to me. You know why? Everything's a system in your business. So what does that mean? Is it your workouts?
No, that's more to like the automations of marketing. The automations behind the marketing. Like,
what about the automation? So you got to get
email marketing.
There we go. Stop. Email. So now you should work on that for 90 days.
Yeah.
You see? Rather than just saying automation, then you sit at home and like, hey man, what the heck do we do? Focus on emails. So that goes hand in hand with your engagement, because the books you read for engagement will also help you with emails. So for emails, you want to get a book called Triggers by Joe Sugarman. You want to get a book called Cashvertising. You want to get a book called Copywriting Secrets by Jim Edwards. Those 3 would be good. Anybody else?
Can you repeat them 3 books?
Man, I don't even know what I said now. Cashvertising, Eric Drew Whitman. What else did I say? Copywriting Secrets, Jim Edwards, my original copywriting trainer. What else did I say?
Triggers.
Triggers, Joe Sugarman. Great books. So, last little bonus thing for retention. There's a book by Marshall Goldsmith. It's called Triggers. It's specifically designed to help people change their behaviors. So here's what I've learned. The bigger your business, Charlie, here you go. The bigger your business, the smaller you have to go to fix your business. Your business is beyond the point where you can Band-Aid it. So when we first met, like you and then some fitness people, now your business is too big to just say, okay, I'll just fix this and we can make money. You can't do that no more, because you got lots of moving parts. So that's the way you gotta look at it. So the more people you have in the business, the smaller you gotta go to change it. So I'll give you an example. Since I have these inferior products here, Apple. I'm just kidding. So when they wanted to save $10 million, they was going through some tough times. So if you look at your Apple keyboard, look at the letter M and look at the letter W. Do they look similar? They saved millions and millions of dollars by making that key. They just made them look alike and just turn one upside down and turn the other way around. They did that for years. Recently, because of y'all millennials, they said, no, we don't want that no more. So they changed it back. But for years, the M and their W looked exactly the same. So that's how small you can go to really change everything. So, Cat, if you just fix DM, $500,000. I'll tell you what I want for Christmas. So, anybody else? Sales, audience engagement, fulfillment, we already did. Anybody else? So here's what I want you to do. Take 10 minutes, write down. Please turn your phones off, turn your internet off, do whatever you gotta do, turn it off. Please, for me. And spend some time working through this. And then at the end, I want you to really think, why do you need to achieve this goal? Why is it important for you to achieve this goal? So remember when I was talking about me when I work, I have my little picture in the background with the 4 things in there? Why is it important for you to create these things for your life? So take 10 minutes right now quietly and figure out how you're gonna make this all happen. And then here's the secret. Every coaching call you do this next whatever number of days it is, if it's not from one of these 3 areas here or here, don't call us. Just come to a group call and get your question answered. Because the fastest way that I know to help people get to the next level is by focusing on one small thing at a time. Thank you.